In the heart of Detroit, a seismic shift is reshaping the landscape of America's automotive giants. Nearly 1 in 10 of the nation's unionized auto workers has taken a courageous leap, embarking on a journey that promises to send shockwaves through the industry. They've called for strikes, but these aren't your ordinary walkouts. No, these strikes carry the weight of history and the ambition to reshape the destiny of Detroit's mighty triumvirate, General Motors, Ford, and the Stellantis Group, guardian of the Chrysler legacy. Why now, you ask? It's a time when those automotive titans are swimming in unprecedented profits. Yet, when they find themselves at a crossroads, the road ahead is paved with electric dreams as they shift away from the roar of gas-powered engines toward the whisper of electrification. But it's not all smooth sailing, for beneath the surface, there's a simmering pot of discontent among the workforce. For the very first time in history, the United Auto Workers Union has orchestrated a symphony of strikes that reverberates across all 3 pillars of the Detroit automotive empire. Picture it: General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis united under a storm of protest. Their collective aim? To wield a new kind of power and, in the process, reclaim what was relinquished by generations of workers in times gone by. President Biden has shown his support for the striking workers by taking firm action, dispatching his aides to the heart of Detroit to help mediate the ongoing standoff. He's called upon the big 3 automakers to share their record profits with the workforce. Leading this battle is Union President Shawn Fain, who has made it abundantly clear that if the companies don't improve their offers, more plants could just join the ranks of their strikers. The workers are steadfastly pushing for across-the-board wage increases, a substantial 36% raise over 4 years. In response, the companies have put forth counteroffers, suggesting increases ranging from 17.5% to 20%. On the picket lines, the workers hold on to hope for a swift resolution, but their dedication to the cause stands strong, and they applaud Fain's unwavering stance during these negotiations. Chris M. Hoisington, a seasoned employee at the Toledo Jeep plant since 2001, echoes the sentiment of many. We didn't hesitate to show up during the challenges of COVID, serving as essential workers and contributing to their substantial profits. We've made significant sacrifices along the way. However, amid the unwavering determination and unity on display, these strikes reveal a deeply human aspect. Consider Chris M. Hoisington, for example, who passionately longs for a quick resolution. For her, it's not just about labor negotiations, it's about the hopes and dreams of everyday workers. She fervently hopes that the strike will end swiftly, sparing her from having to dip into her savings earmarked for a new house. In her own words, "I really hope this doesn't drag on, or else I'm going to have to use my down payment for groceries." This moment in history signifies a significant departure from the United Auto Workers' 88-year history of negotiating with one automaker at a time. In the past, this approach restricted the industry-wide ripple effect of potential work stoppages. Each agreement with an automaker served as a template, not a guarantee, for subsequent contract negotiations. Presently, around 13 out of the 146,000 workers across these 3 automotive giants are on strike. This not only presents operational challenges for the automakers, but also ensures the preservation of the union's $825 million strike fund, securing the continuation of this battle for workers' rights. If these contract negotiations continue to linger and the strikes spread to more manufacturing plants, the consequences will affect both the workers and the companies. The expenses will pile up, adding more pressure to an already fragile situation. Car dealers might face shortages of vehicles, which could ultimately lead to higher prices and potentially steer customers toward foreign automakers with non-union labor forces. Furthermore, it could introduce new challenges to an economy that's been enjoying relief from inflation. The innovative negotiating approach in this brainchild of Shawn Fain, a historic figure as the first leader in the union's history to be directly elected by the workers themselves. Unlike the previous system, where outgoing leaders selected their successors through convention delegates, this new method aims to break away from a past tainted by corruption and financial misconduct. This troubled history reached its peak with a federal investigation and subsequent prison sentences for two former UAW presidents. Shawn Fain, a determined figure, narrowly secured his leadership position last spring after running a spirited campaign against what he called company unionism. In his view, this approach had let down the autoworkers by agreeing to plant closures and failing to negotiate more favorable terms with the automakers. During his campaign, Fain boldly proclaimed, "We've been a one-party state for longer than I've been alive," positioning himself as an adversary for the companies rather than a cozy business partner. David Green, a former local union leader who assumed a regional director role this year, echoed the call for change. He stressed that maintaining the status quo carried greater risks than embarking on a new path. Green's career of over 2 decades at General Motors saw the closure of an assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio, employing 3,000 workers. While the union had made concessions during the challenging times of the Great Recession, Green argued, "We've done nothing but slide backward for the last 20 years, applauding Fain's strategy as refreshing." Carlos Guajardo, with 35 years at Ford and 11 years at GM under his belt, voiced his support for this new approach, highlighting how it ensures the strike fund's longevity, allowing workers to stand their ground. These strikes wield the power to shape the future of the union and America's domestic auto industry. They unfold against the backdrop of a labor movement gaining momentum, while the companies grapple with an unprecedented shift from internal combustion vehicles to electric ones. Moreover, these walkouts are poised to become a prominent issue in the upcoming presidential election, serving as a litmus test for President Biden's claim to be the most union-friendly president in American history. Even Shawn Fain, known for his resolute stance, acknowledges that the union's demands are bold. However, he remains steadfast in his belief that the automakers, swimming in billions in profits, can certainly foot the bill. He dismisses company claims that meeting these demands would inevitably lead to higher vehicle prices, pointing out that labor expenses only constitute a modest 4 to 5% of the overall vehicle costs. In their quest for fairness, the union is pushing for a range of improvements. These include general wage increases, the reinstatement of cost of living pay raises, the abolishment of wage tiers for factory jobs, advocating for a 32-hour work week with 40 hours of pay, and the restoration of traditional defined benefit pensions for new hires, who currently receive 401k-style retirement plans. Additionally, they're advocating for pension increases for retirees, among other essential items. The backdrop to these negotiations is the seismic shift towards electric vehicles. The union is adamant about securing representation for workers at the joint venture electric vehicle battery factories that the companies are constructing, ensuring that their members have opportunities to be at the forefront of building the vehicles of the future. Presently, top-scale assembly plant workers command approximately $32 an hour, coupled with substantial annual profit-sharing checks. For context, Ford reported an average annual pay of around $78,000 last year, encompassing overtime, bonuses, and other incentives. In the midst of this, the Ford plant currently on strike employs around 3,300 workers. The Toledo Jeep complex, a vital part of this unfolding story, houses approximately 5,800 workers, while GM's Wentzville plant, where echoes of change resonate, employs roughly 3,600 workers. The stakes are high, and the stage is set for a pivotal moment in the American auto industry. Curiously, the union's focus has not been on the company's most lucrative cash cows, which are the full-size pickup trucks and large SUVs that have traditionally been the mainstay of their profits. In this high-stakes battle between the big three automakers and their dedicated workforce, we've witnessed a historic showdown. While the demands are bold and the negotiations intense, it all comes down to finding a fair balance. As the auto industry evolves into an electrifying future, the question remains, how can both workers and companies thrive in this transformative era? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the conversation rolling. What's your take on this pivotal moment in the American auto industry?